Hey, how you doing guys? It's Slynk here with another tutorial, and lately I've been thinking about chord progressions and what exactly makes a chord progression really catchy. So I've been thinking about that for a while, and I think what it is the way that the end kind of leads into the beginning, and it kind of creates this circular motion or feeling with the chords. And I want to try and write a simple chord progression that touches on those ideas. So to start with, let's just talk about scales, because they're pretty important when it comes to chord progressions. There's two main scales. You got major and minor. Major is just if you start with a C major, you can press all the white keys until you get to C again. So alright, pretty easy. And then to transform that into a minor scale, you can take the third, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, transpose that down 1, and 7. So now we have a minor scale. And we're actually creating a little guide for us to use later. So let's just copy this up a bit. And we can actually just transpose this root note to any notes on any of the notes on the keyboard here, and it will be a D minor scale, D sharp minor scale, whatever we like. Let's go with a D. So okay, that's our scale, and we have a little guide here on the side so that we make sure that we use the right notes. Okay, so getting back to this idea of a revolving, circulating kind of chord progression, what I think would be a good idea is if we take a D note and put it right at the end of the chord progression, and we'll avoid using a D until we get to the end. Okay, so let's start with a D there, and then to lead into the note that we start with, we'll have like it transposing up a bit, and then let's start with an F, so it'll be like let's go like and then since we've gone up, I'm actually writing this too long here. Let's do a shorter one here like this. We've gone, so starting from here, we've gone up like 4 steps in the scale. So let's drop it down. And C is in our scale. You can see it right there. It's actually a 7th. So that should harmonize pretty nice. Yeah, let's do something like this. Let's not make it too long here. Yeah. Let's give this little lead-in note, make it a little bit shorter. So we're starting with the bass line, just to give the chords some kind of reference. I think it's a good place to start when you're writing a chord progression. So, how do we, let me get my keyboard out, my other keyboard. How do we create a chord from these bass line notes? Well, we can easily make a triad. So let's just copy paste this up 1 octave. And a triad is just the first note, and then you go up to the 3rd note in the scale, and then the 5th note. So we'll be looking at D, F, and A. And we can do that with all these notes in the bass line. Now, these are all minor triad chords, and just through some experimentation, I thought it would sound cool if the second chord was actually a major chord. So remember we transposed this down off of the white key to the black earlier to make this scale a minor scale. If we just transpose this middle note up, it'll turn it into a major chord. Which I think sounds kind of nice. It breaks up the fact that we're only playing minor chords and changes the mood a little bit. Now, some of these notes down here are a bit low, so we can actually, the cool thing about chords is you can just transpose these notes all over the place. So we can take these two and transpose them up. And then you'll notice that the top note here is kind of got a bit of a pattern to it. And we can expand this further and just copy paste the whole thing up one octave. So that's pretty neat. It's a really simple chord progression, but I think it's a good place to start, especially for this tutorial. So let's duplicate this now and think about a melody. So if we just turn a low pass filter on, because I think a melody also makes for a really catchy chord progression and just makes your song overall really catchy. So in Serum, we're just going to create a, we're going to map our mod wheel here to be the controls for a vibrato, but we've got to make vibrato settings first. So if we go to, let's see here, LFO1, the destination will be our master tuning, and then to make it wiggle both sides of the note, we've got to click this button here, and then we'll just click that over to 1 because we want it to wiggle up and down one semitone. And then the auxiliary source can be macro 1. And now we can take this knob here and just macro it out to this knob. You don't have to do that, but I just like to do that because it's nice and clear what this knob does. Vibrato. And it's a really slow vibrato right now, so we can change that by altering the rate of this LFO here. So if we turn BPM off, I find actually somewhere around 7 Hertz is pretty good. Yeah. All right, so let's try and come up with a melody on top of this. And while we're talking about melodies, I think the same goes for melodies when it comes to the root note and sort of holding back on that root note, the first note in the scale, and in this case being the D note. If we sort of dance around the D note before we hit the D note, then it will kind of create more tension and engage the listener more, because the listener badly wants to hear that D note because it just sounds like there's gonna be a D note soon, and it creates tension and it makes it catchy. So let's try and like dance around the D note here, and we'll just come up with something on the fly here. Let's see how we go. Like hit the D note after a certain phrase, right? Oh, that kind of sounds nice. let's try this. There we go. I think we half nailed it there. I think this section was a little bit better in terms of my timing. And we'll just make sure that everything is lining up time-wise. I'll just apply my standard groove to these MIDI clips. And we should set this to monophonic mode. And yeah, I think that kind of works. It's dancing around the D note quite a bit there, and it sort of sounds nice. What we can do is make the progression evolve in the melody just by pitching it up an octave, and maybe we'll pitch this last note up so that it kind of leads into it. Let's try like a gliss up. So these are all just notes in the scale. I think that's kind of catchy. We can maybe try opening up this filter slowly during the course of this to build more tension. Maybe we'll save this for over here. Yeah, and this is like the beginning of a song, you know? So maybe I'll pause for a sec here and I'll mess around, try and get the most out of these notes, and maybe come up with a bit of a beat to show you guys at the end. Bit of a mini track. Alright, I'll be right back. Peace. Alright, so this is a couple hours later. I might have gone a bit overboard with expanding this idea a bit, but I was having fun, so fuck it. So let's have a listen to what I got here. Alright, so there's it probably sounds a lot different from before, but all I've really done is just added some better drums. This section here, I kind of repeated the same note at the end of this melody to build even more tension before the drop here. And with the chords, I kind of just slowly scrolled through the chords that we already had over here, and the bass kind of just like rises. And then yeah, I chopped up some bass and made some cool edits here. And I had that playing off of the chords up here because I shortened them and just added them in key areas. And then I got thinking about, you know, how can we make this even more catchy and make the listener want to continue listening? And I thought I'd try apply the same kind of idea and theory over this circulating melodies and chord progressions where the end leads into the beginning again. That same idea, but with the lyrics. And so I whipped out my talk box and I thought something like this would be cool.
We call the shots, rip all the spots with this funky ass music. You know we don't stop, cause we call the shots.
So you can see the end of the phrase is because we call the shots, and then it goes back to the beginning again.
Call the shots.
And that kind of, the lyrics sort of are kind of asking you to listen on because, hey, I haven't finished, you know, my sentence kind of thing, I guess. And it makes for a pretty catchy kind of lyric. And the notes I wasn't paying too much attention to, and it was a pretty rough recording. But anyway, you get the idea. And I'm kind of liking this, which is why I ended up spending so much time on it. But yeah, hopefully that this little tutorial helps you guys with your chord progressions and melodies and lyrics as well, and just making a really catchy song that's like fun to listen to and really engages the listener. So yeah, have fun with your producing and chord writing and have a great day. Peace.